What up, what up, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live Good, Feel Better podcast, the podcast where we talk about health with real people on a real journey, okay? My name is Joshua Gibson, a believer, husband, father, business owner, rapper, and now recently, health enthusiast. And when I say health, I'm talking about all of it: physical health, financial health, spiritual health, mental health, and social health. Now look, I'm no expert on any of these things, but that's why I started this podcast to facilitate conversations that bring these topics to light. We have a special guest today, y'all, but before I get into her intro, let's hop into the theme scripture for season 1, which is Colossians 3:23. Work willingly at whatever you do as though you are doing it for the Lord and not for people. All right? Now let's get into the intro for this guest. Are y'all ready? Oh, no, ready. Okay, let's go. Today's guest is passionate about helping people grow, not just financially, but in how they live day to day. She's currently working in the financial space and is now a certified financial planner with a mission to help people take control of their money and close the wealth gap. But what makes her story even more powerful is how she shows up in real life. She's a wife of 16 years and a mom of 4, and she's been intentional about creating a healthier lifestyle for her family, even making changes to what they eat and how they move on a daily basis. She was also involved with a phenomenal organization called Kids Moving and Thriving, where the focus is on helping kids live healthier, more active lives and building strong habits early. This is someone who is not just talking about health, she is actually living it out. Y'all help me welcome Leslie McCullough.
Thanks for having me, Josh. Super excited. I feel very honored.
When I started this podcast, I wrote down a bunch of names. You were one of the first 10 to 15. You were among the first group of names I wrote down to be on the podcast. So definitely happy you were here.
Awesome.
For people just getting to know you, who are you at the core? Before the physical health stuff and the financial certification, who is Leslie McCullough?
I am a Christian. I think that really dictates a lot of what I do, is that I love the Lord. He leads me, guides me. I feel like without my faith, I wouldn't be able to be financially healthy or physically healthy.
What was your childhood like growing up, the family environment, and what shaped you early on as a kid?
We didn't necessarily go to church on a regular basis. So I gotta back up. So I went to a Lutheran church.
I was gonna say, you gotta expound on that. I don't know what that is.
So yes, in the Lutheran church, I don't know what, it's nothing like it in the Baptist church, but an acolyte is essentially, I guess you would call him a junior deacon. So there's a lot of rituals that happen on a or that did happen in my church on a week-to-week basis. And so one of them was, there's a call and response as the pastor and the deacons and the acolytes enter the sanctuary. They start in the back of the sanctuary, and the acolytes are responsible for bringing in the cross. So the cross is carried in, and there's a candle lit. And so as a Lutheran, I think when you get 13, you get confirmed. So it was a 6-week confirmation. And yeah, I guess it's similar to I don't know, I'm not Jewish, but a bar mitzvah type thing. I was quizzed, so I had to pass in order to, and then we had a little celebration after.
Interesting.
We were confirmed.
That's what I thought of. When you said 13, I was just that's kind of sounds like a bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
With now being in a Baptist church and having that as your foundation or your memory in your childhood, what are some of the major differences?
Yeah, so the Lutheran church is completely different than the Baptist church. So I didn't feel any type of way about the length of service when I came to a Baptist church, but there's just more stuff. We took communion every Sunday. We all got up, knelt at the altar to get the communion. I don't know. It was just more ritualistic. Like there's just a lot of stuff to do, like the candles and the cross and lighting the candles, putting them out.
And this was every Sunday. It wasn't just like a special occasion.
No, not just first Sunday. It was every Sunday. So,
Wow.
like I couldn't imagine like at our church if we all had to get up and take communion every Sunday.
Well, we'll be there until Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
if we did that, yeah, because I feel like our church it's a big church.
I do appreciate now it may have to do with because I'm older, like that there is intentionality in the music. Like the songs we sang in the Lutheran church, really it was like because we're at this point in the service we're singing the song and it didn't connect to the message. Like I love how our pastor, are we name dropping here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like at Mount Zion, there's intention in what song is being sang, and you can even, if you're focused, you can see like, oh, that song actually set up this message.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love how it's thought out that way and not ritualistic, but let's prepare hearts to hear this particular message. Sheldon Turner's making up songs, and then the different ministries.
Even for me, like I went to a Baptist church growing up with my family, and every once in a while I would visit Mount Zion. And the church I went to in my childhood was a smaller Baptist church, more traditional, I would say. So every time I would visit Mount Zion, I'd be like, man, this church is crazy. Like they have a rap ministry and like crazy in a good way, but like it was always like a culture shock. Like my church had one service.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Zion, for as long as I can remember, even before I went, had two services. So I would always think to myself, like, oh, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm here at 6 a.m. or whatever at 12 years old. And for me to now have been going there for, I don't even know, 12, 13 years is crazy. But yeah, definitely a difference in how they're intentional about like what songs they play, all the different ministries. Like, I've definitely grown to love it. So I do want to fast forward to your college years and you just being older.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're a financial planner, kind of talk about how you were financially as a college student or even a young adult versus how you are now.
The word reckless comes to mind as a college student. Because when I came to Western, I had a lot of scholarships and just didn't have to pay for anything. And I just remember getting refund checks and just having no idea what to do with them. And I definitely did not save them. I mean, and it was like thousands of dollars. It just didn't have any focus to my finances. I hadn't necessarily been taught, to have a savings account even and like how much you should be spending and that kind of stuff. So, I wouldn't say I was in like horrible financial shape, but definitely had like credit card debt and that was mostly it. Like I made sure I paid my bills, like rent and utilities, like that was never an issue, but it was just the other spending. I just didn't have any like guardrails or controls around. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll get the credit card and save 20% today. Or sign me up. And yeah, just I remember one of my friends in college, we would just go to the mall every weekend. And it was like, okay, we have to buy a pair of jeans. And then we have to get 5 for $25 from Victoria's Secret. That was the thing. And we like did that like religiously for and just accumulating crap.
And this was all on a credit card, not even the.
Sometimes I have money, sometimes I didn't.
But you always would spend regardless.
I was spending regardless. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just kind of spending, not really paying attention to anything.
As a young adult, even after college, were there still like some financial habits that you had that were just maybe ingrained in you from childhood, or things that you just kept doing from college?
Yeah, so one thing that definitely was ingrained in me, and I credit my parents for this, and the church I went to was tithing. So I always gave 10% no matter what. So even of those refund checks, I would give 10% um, to Mount and I was like, I have to give 10%. It's whatever the increase is, I have to give 10%. And it
Yep.
started from when I would get like a $10 allowance, I would give a dollar. We didn't even go to church every Sunday, but I just knew that I had to tithe.
Mm.
So that's one thing that has stuck with me the whole time. And I think that's why I didn't completely go off the deep end, because it
Yeah.
was like the Lord was like, okay, I'm going to hold her until she get her life together because she's still tithing.
With tithing being so important, do you kind of incorporate that into your lessons now that you're a certified financial trainer?
It's a fine line. So the organization I work for is not inherently Christian. And so people I work with, I get to see like they're supposed to tell me how much they're spending before I actually meet them. So when I look, if I see that they have charitable donations as a line item in tithing, then I know like I can speak on it. Um, but I don't necessarily encourage people to do it unless they ask me how to do it. But when I help people just, at church, or if people come to me for advice, I always start with tithing. It's like, because if you can't live off of 90%, then like something's wrong. Like there's a deeper issue than, you know, the credit cards, because he can do more for you with that 90% when you're putting your faith um, in him.
Yeah, when people say they don't have money to tithe, if you talk to them just for a little bit, you can see like, well, you went to Starbucks,
Mhm.
you went out to eat, you went to the mall every weekend, we're just buying jeans and Victoria's Secret, whatever it was.
Right.
It's like you could have put that money towards tithing. And yeah, when you give God your first, you'll be blessed. It might not be immediate to where you think tithe and you get your bills paid, but it would definitely be a blessing. So I do want to talk about like what does it take to become a certified financial trainer? Like what training did you go through?
There's 6 domains that you have to study and take a test on each one. And so there is general principles of financial planning. So that's your budgeting, like how people's emotions come into play when they're dealing with finance, why it's called personal finance. And then just like the regulations of the industry, like being a fiduciary, which means you always do what's in the best interest of the client and not yourself. So you don't sell somebody something because you get a big commission if it's not a good product for them, that type of stuff. So there's the general principles, there's tax planning, investment planning, estate planning, retirement planning, and then there's like a capstone of like case studies.
Like as you were going through the training, what were some of the main things that shocked you that you didn't know as a college student or as a kid or even as an adult? Like what were some things that shocked you and that you felt you had to implement immediately?
I don't really think anything shocked me.
All right.
I have been interested in personal finance for a while and worked in banking, and you mentioned Dave Ramsey, like he was like my first introduction to personal finance. Um, I felt like the all of the principles that were there, none were foreign to me. And by the time I got to the point where I was like, okay, I want to be a CFP, I felt like Sheldon and I had our finances in a good spot, and in order. And I was actually looking because Would love to have my own business someday. I think I heard you saying like entrepreneurship is really hard. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
Oh, yeah. We can talk about
And
that later, but yeah, it's
yes,
definitely some hard
I was looking
seasons.
at the requirements to have like a financial planning practice in Michigan, and you have to have like a certain net worth. Like you can't be
Really?
in a ton of like
So
there's like
that wasn't shocking?
requirements. That's shocking. I just found that out like a couple of days ago when I
Wow.
was looking at it. But I was like, it makes sense because it's like if you don't have at least a general sense, how can you help somebody else? But I was just shocked that there's like actual like you have to have I think it was $10,000 in net worth, which isn't horrible, but if you like have a huge mortgage and no real assets, you might not.
Right,
So
because who are you to try to financially plan for somebody that it looks like you need our services actually before you try to help other people. So I
right.
guess yeah, that does make sense.
I know when Sheldon and I were dating, so this was like
And Sheldon is her husband, y'all. By the way,
yes.
I did not say his name in the intro, but Sheldon is her husband. For people who are like, who is Sheldon? But yeah,
So yeah. When I were dating, Um, this is like 2008, 2009. Like, not to throw Sheldon under the bus or anything, but he would like get bills from like his student loans, and it was like the little coupons. This was back in the day, so sent you the coupon to pay the student loan, and I just noticed they were just like accumulating, and I was like, "Are you paying these?" And he was like, "No," and so I realized like okay. And then I was like started trying to like help him get stuff together.
mm,
And that kind of evolved into me like finding out about Dave Ramsey. He actually had the book Financial Peace University. That's what it is. Because Sheldon has quite the extensive library. So any book that has ever been written, he probably has it. So he had the book and I, started reading it. And then I was like looking at our finances as like we should join them. At first, Sheldon was like, "No."
wait. So this is before you guys were married. You wanted to
So
join
we were
finances?
like doing the marriage class, like we were gonna get married, and like
Okay,
my what I heard was you have to have joint finances, but
yeah,
he didn't hear that, and so and so I just kept kind of nagging at that that we need to join our finances because he didn't grow up like that. And
yeah.
so he's like, nope, you have your money, I have mine. And so we ended up going back to Pastor Moore, like, okay, like we need to understand this together. And so Pastor Moore explained, like, you don't necessarily have to do everything together, but both of you need to be on each other's accounts
For
so that
sure.
if something happens, the other one can handle business. So then that made sense for Sheldon. So then I was like, okay, I got an inch, taking a mile. So I'm like, we're doing these baby steps. And after we got married, somebody gifted us Financial Peace University.
Nice.
They were offering at church at the time, and so, but it still costs money because at the time it was like CDs or
Wow.
DVDs. Now you can just do it online, but there was DVDs, and we went to class every week. Um, and so that's what kind of got us started on our journey together with our finances. And I am like 100% or nothing type person. So, I mean, I was listening to the podcast all the time
The Dave
and
Ramsey podcast.
yeah, the Dave
Yeah.
Ramsey podcast all the time and being like, all right, we can't go out to eat. We can't do nothing. Dave Ramsey became a cuss word in the house. Like, I don't care what Dave said. And funny story, I actually called the show one time. Now if you call, like he's big time, you probably have to wait, but this
Yeah.
was like I don't know. Must have been, we were married, so it must have been like 2011. I didn't have any kids at the time.
So what was the question you asked on on his show?
I think he wanted to get a car note, and I was just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, we both had old cars, and he was like ready to go get a car loan. And I was like, all right, I got to call Dave. But I didn't tell Sheldon I was calling, and I was just calling to get the advice myself. Like, I didn't want him to know. So I called, and Dave like goes off on me. Like, he's like much nicer now. I don't know if it's because he's had grandchildren.
Is he? I feel like I
He's
see little
still-
clips of the show and I'm like, this guy is. I do want to call sometimes, but I'm like, I don't want to get like chewed out on a show. But
Definitely got chewed out. And I was like, oh my God. It was like, he was basically like, you're whining. Somebody call the ambulance. And now I feel like he's just like, oh, let me give you this gift of financial peace. I'm like, where was that, Dave, when I called? And I don't remember
you needed the old school Dave.
I guess I did.
Or y'all needed the old school Dave.
Yeah. And so then come to find out, Sheldon was listening and heard me talking to him while he was driving. I was like, you never listened to this show. How did you hear this?
So how was he feeling in that moment? Like, I'm sure he explained, like, I was like, I know this is my wife on the radio right now. Like, what were his thoughts about that?
I guess he was just like, really, like, just kind of felt a little betrayed. Like, he's just gonna call. That's why he yelled at you.
Yep.
But we didn't end up getting a car loan. And so, mission accomplished.
Right. Because I'm sure, even though it was maybe embarrassing, you still took in what Dave was saying, even if it was rude or mean or whatever. So,
yes, exactly.
what are some of the biggest obstacles that you see a lot of people dealing with, and what advice would you give them to overcome those challenges?
I would say being clear on where you want to go. You don't have to be religious about like budgeting or tracking, but you have to have some idea of how much money you make and how much money you spend. It's mind-boggling. Sometimes people are just like, I don't know how much money I spend, and it's you gotta know that, because you can't know how much you can keep if you don't know how much you're spending. And another thing, like, people are like, oh, I just want to make more money. It's like, it's not really about how much money you make, because I've worked with people that make for $500,000 a month. On the same side, work with people that household income is like 150, and the people with 150 have more to put away than the people that's making 500, because they just spend so much money.
Do they accumulate more more monthly bills, or do they just
bigger house, more cars? Like, this one guy I met with, he's like $10,000 a month for tennis for his kids, and that's fine. Like, if that's what you want, great. But
they better be the best tennis players ever for $10,000 a month.
And he wasn't even like super sure. He was just like, yeah, it's like 10 to 20,000 a month for the tennis.
I remember at the beginning of the conversation, you talked about how when you were a kid, like even when you got like a $10 allowance, you would still give $1 out of that because that's what you were taught. What are you and Sheldon teaching your kids about finances, or even what are you guys modeling that they see?
That's a great question. So I do have jars for the kids. So they each have 3 jars, and the baby, he's 4 now, but he has just one big jar because he can't fathom spending money or saving up for anything right now. But the rest of them have a give, save, and a spend jar. And every time they get money, we tell them, like, you need to give some, save some, spend some. And I think, you know how you want your kids to be better than you. So they don't look at it from a tithing perspective. It's Christian giving. So they're not limiting their giving to 10%. My son that's 8, he usually gets $5. And so he'll put 2 in the whatever he was like, he can split it up how he wants, but it's usually 2 and 1. And so even he always puts 2 in the give. Like, they're just very in tune with the fact that this is all God's money and he can have as much as he would like.
Yep.
Like, the girls now, they're 12 and 13, so they still have jars from when they get cash, but they have Cash App. And so I pay them in there because there's a savings bucket in Cash App.
Is there?
Yes, and because I'm their parent, I can see how much is in each bucket.
Nice.
And I usually just tell them to show me, though, like, make sure you save me. And so so they get $10, and I always make sure you need to put at least $1 in the save, and then you give some, and you spend some. And we haven't necessarily taught them like you have to give 10%, but they intuitively give more than that. Like,
Nice.
my oldest daughter gives $6 every week to class, and then the other one gives 3, and because she's more of a spender. And like the oldest, like, I could probably borrow $50 from her right now. But yeah, not the second one. She don't have it, but she always gives, and she keeps money in her save.
Let's switch to physical health aspect. But are you plant-based or vegan, or do you still eat meat?
So I don't like to put any labels on myself.
I know a lot of people say that. So yeah, I don't even know how to ask the question anymore. I'm like, what do you eat? Yeah.
What you mean? So my diet tends to be mostly plant-based.
Okay.
I don't I won't say like I don't eat cheese, or I don't remember the last time I had meat on purpose. It was snuck into something.
Yep. I've had those moments.
That I couldn't pick it out, or didn't have time to do that.
Like, yeah, this is good. What is this? Beef. Like, oh man, I got to start back over from. that happens to me a lot. Like, I definitely I was just in my brother's baby shower, just eating, and I was like, this is tasty. So yeah, this is pork. I was like, oh. That's definitely not what I wanted to hear. So yeah, that happens to me a lot. Yeah. It was good though, but I did stop eating.
Not nasty.
Not at all.
You got to have a plan, a vision. It's just like your finances.
Exactly.
So I do. It's not something I'm proud of. I do eat bacon, like thoroughly enjoy bacon. I don't buy it. I don't keep it in the house. But if it's available, probably gonna have some bacon.
Because yeah, especially at church, for people who don't know, our church has breakfast, and I will also myself try not to eat bacon, and sometimes I don't, and I'm not gonna say names, but one of the people that be serving, she'll know. So, are you doing bacon today or not? And sometimes I'm strong, and then sometimes I'm like, you know what, throw a couple slices on there because I smoked it during first service. But I don't think I remember you being vegan or plant. Like I know you don't do titles, but I don't think you were eating like a plant-based diet. Or am I wrong?
Probably not. So when I was in college, I used to be like, being vegetarian is stupid. This is dumb. You need protein, because my major was athletic training. So I drank the Kool-Aid of this is how much protein you need. And you're not getting it. All you're eating is a bunch of carbs. Yeah, and like the people that I knew who claimed to be vegetarians, like when we would go out, they would just eat French fries, and it's like, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't, but I was just like too brash with because there's other ways to do it. So yeah, I definitely probably was not plant-based or vegetarian. When I met you, I think What sparked it was, I don't remember what year it was. It was after 2014, but before 2017, somewhere in there. I watched the movie What the Health.
Yep.
Yeah. And that kind of did it for me. Or it
Nice.
kind of took me on this, not downward, upward spiral of wanting to do better
Yeah.
for myself, for the family. And I didn't like take the full leap at that point, but just like, okay, let's eat whole foods. Like, let's not have the processed junk. And I remember when I got pregnant with my son, so he was born in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't eat nothing healthy. I don't know what it was. It all disgusted me. The smell of it,
Mm.
everything. Like I was trying to like make plant-based meals and I was just like, need a burger. When we lost our fourth child, I discovered Dr. Furman. Have you heard of him?
Doctor Who?
Dr. Furman. He,
Nope.
yeah, okay, you gotta look him up. He coined this eating style called nutritarian,
Okay.
and that, um, like really, I felt like changed my whole body composition, and just really made it easier to lose weight, to feel energized and all that. And it's cooked food, and he doesn't even say that you don't have to eat meat at all, but it's more so the meat is like a seasoning, an additive, is not the main deal.
Yeah.
And he calls them the G bombs, like things you need to eat every day. So greens, berries, onions, mushrooms, beans, and seeds.
Okay.
And so I really started trying to do that.
Do you think your kids will eventually go plant based, or do you care if they're plant based? Like once they get older, or how do you feel about that?
I think they will eat more fruits and vegetables than their counterparts, I would say, because they're more accessible. I like today I cut up oranges, washed grapes, and just put them out. Whereas, and not to knock anybody, but like typically it's like grab some chips out of the pantry or grab some a fruit roll up or a granola bar.
Yeah.
Like that's what's available. So I do think they have a good base of not always having packaged snacks, because I
Nice.
don't buy a ton of those. So I think they'll have that basis of like fruit is a good convenient food
Yeah.
to have, and they do really like chicken and meat. Their grandparents cook it, they eat it at school.
Yep.
Um, so I think their their day will probably look like, you know, eat a little crazy on during the day, but when they get home, my hope is that they'll be like, okay, I need to be a little more sensible now. You know, even as an adult, like if they're on the go and they're eating out for
Yeah.
lunch and breakfast, when they get home, they'll be like, okay, I need to have some vegetables at this point because it's getting out of hand. But yeah, I don't see my second oldest. She has been like, oh, okay, I want to be vegetarian, but it's hard.
Because I've seen her in your, like sometimes you do Instagram
Yeah, she
video or
likes to be in the
lives.
kitchen.
Yeah, like you'll be making them with the kids sometimes. Mostly, I feel like it's your daughters. I haven't seen,
Yeah.
but I feel like those little micro moments, even if they don't
Mhm.
fully like it now, like that's gonna shape their childhood.
And
And
I know they'll at least not be averse to healthier foods.
right,
Like they'll try the mushrooms and the things, and I buy random fruit that we've never seen before, and they try it. Like it's not so much like ew. Like, what
Yeah.
is that? Like, they'll be open to trying stuff, I would think.
What are you doing right now to live good so you feel better every day?
Yes, so there's 5 things. I think these came from John Maxwell. But 5 things, 5 habits that I've incorporated, and it's just really helping a ton with my mood and being able to make good choices financially and physically. So when I wake up in the morning, I pray and listen to God. So I have a journal at that time, and I make sure I exercise every day and read something every day and listen to a faith building message. So sometimes I'll rewatch church or Bible study or something else that comes across my feed because it's pretty well conditioned now on YouTube.
Nice.
And write down my goals uh, every day. So yeah,
Yep.
those are
Write
the
it down and
things.
make it plain.
Yeah, and just really doing that every day has helped me a ton. And I've actually taught my girls. I haven't quite got to the boys, but taught my girls to write down their goals and pray every day because the Bible says that if you delight yourself in the Lord, He'll give you the desires of your heart. So it's really no need for us as Christians to be uh, feeling void or like we don't have what we want. All we really have to do is delight ourselves in the Lord. And if we're focused on what He told us to do, He'll either change our desires so that we already have what we want, or we want what He wants for us, or He'll actually give us what we desire. And that's kind of what I was getting at when it's like you write down your goals every day and you're praying. It's like, you're allowing God to shape you. And I can look back at journals and where I wrote down, like, I am a CFP. I'm a CFP.
Yes.
Like, I make this much. I make that much. Like, it's like having that in front of you so that you can look back and thank God. Like, 9 times out of 10, most of us are living the life that we prayed for
Yep.
already.
All the time.
And so that's just so helpful. And also with the writing down the goals, just writing down things you're grateful for now. That brings it into perspective because if God did that thing that you're grateful for, He can do the thing that you're believing Him for too.
Amen. Well, Leslie, thank you for being on this podcast. I just want to end the episode by saying when I first invited you on, you said you didn't have anything to offer.
I know.
I don't know why, but hopefully this podcast, this conversation proves that wrong. You talked about financial health and physical health, which is 2 of the aspects of this podcast. So I appreciate that. Make sure you guys follow Leslie at
on Instagram at Shellsville. I'll have to spell that for you so you can put it in. And then just Leslie McCullough on Facebook. Usually whatever I post on Instagram goes to Facebook.
Perfect. Thank y'all for tuning in. Every episode comes out Tuesday at midnight, so make sure y'all check this episode out and every other episode after. We'll see y'all next time. Peace. Welcome to the end of the podcast where I give my thoughts on the overall conversation. We all know parenting is a journey. Nobody is perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But what Leslie is doing is setting an example for her kids so that they can know how to do the right thing, how to eat right, how to manage their money. It's not just tithing, but it's Christian giving, which goes beyond the 10%. They're changing the narratives just one small step at a time. With instead of having chips available, they have fruit available all the time. I think that's powerful. And the overall theme, I feel like what I got from the conversation is the success that Leslie and her family has in their life. God is at the foundation. Write your vision down, make it plain, and go after what you want. If you're into juicing and intriguing health content, I will follow my Instagram page. It's Juicing with Josh. There's an underscore in between each word. It flows right into the theme of this podcast where we focus on a real life journey to bettering my health one step at a time. No perfection, but it is all about progress. Leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, an honest review, y'all. I know before, like I said, I told y'all just to only leave 5-star reviews, but just give me an honest review. How is this podcast going for you? What's going great? What could be better? I want y'all to leave me an honest review. It really helps with the podcast and pushing it to other people. If you are watching this on YouTube, comment below a funny moment, something that stuck out to you, and shoot, get the conversation started below. I have an album called Sincerely Me, streaming everywhere right now, but I do have another album. I'm not going to give y'all the name of it yet, but it is coming out soon. One of the songs, actually the song you hear right now, is going to be on that album. I just want to let y'all know that. I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Ambition, I'ma go after. Obstacles, it don't matter. All action, low chatter, won't slow down, I'ma go faster. More goals that I'll try. Let's scroll on Wi-Fi, no fast food in my gut. More sunshine, cause I'm outside. Only time speaking vocally is in the song, then you gon' see every single thing pan out like my wife cooking and we bout to eat. Bank accounts with interest, stocks up when I invest. No updates on my timeline, could care less if you impress. My vision board on Pinterest, I'm praying more when I get stressed. I'm making sure that my kids set. My 2 boys, they been next. Took a break, I'ma get going. I was moving quiet like the wind blowing. Now I'm stomping for my dreams, and I promise you there's no more tiptoeing. Cause ambition, I'ma go after. Obstacles, it don't matter. All action, low chatter, won't slow down, I'ma go faster. More goals that I'll try. Let's scroll on Wi-Fi, no fast food in my gut. More sunshine, cause I'm outside. More sunshine, cause I'm outside. Better catch these dreams, it's about